What is going on, everyone? My name is Andy. Welcome back to another FPL video on Fantasy Football Scout. And obviously with everything that's going on at the moment, we're not going to put out the usual kind of week-to-week videos that we do. And the amount of content probably will be a little bit reduced over the coming weeks, but we still wanted to put out some content on the channel. So today I thought I'd look back at kind of 4 of the January transfer signings to see how they've gotten on from an FPL point of view. Starting off with Danny Rose. Now he's come to Newcastle from Spurs on loan and has only played from game week 26 to 29 so far. And it's fair to say he's not really had a great run in the Spurs team for a little while and definitely wasn't kind of favoured under Mourinho. In terms of, I looked over kind of total points that he's ever scored in FPL. And he's never really had a massive score over the course of a season. So 103 points in 2014-15 and then 109 in 2015-16. They're his highest scores. So he's never really had a kind of season where he's gone the whole way and scored plenty of points. And I've owned him down the years while he's been at Spurs. Not that often, but I have had him in my team at times. I've got a bit of a soft spot for him. I think I quite like watching him play back in the day when he was kind of tacking down that left for Spurs. Not quite the same recently, but he was decent at one point in time. But not a player that you'd ever really have like for the course of the season, like you might kind of a Trent Alexander-Arnold at the moment. In terms of his move to Newcastle, so 13 points over 4 games isn't great at all. That's just 3.25 points per match so far, so not really fantastic at all. So nothing against Arsenal away. There was a 1-0 loss against Crystal Palace away as well. But in the last 2 games, they have had 2 clean sheets against Burnley in Southampton. Attacking-wise, those 4 game weeks, he's only had 3 penalty area touches, 0 shots. So attacking threat is almost nothing basically, and 1 chance created over 4 game weeks. So not really great at all. Not expecting too many attacking returns whenever he gets to start playing again. And obviously for 5.3 million, I'm not sure that I would ever really want to spend that cash on Danny Rose at the moment. You look at Newcastle as a whole, kind of defensively, they're really middling in terms of shots conceded in the box, expected goals conceded as well. But it could be worth looking at a Newcastle defender whenever the fixtures come back, because they've still got Bournemouth away, West Ham at home, Brighton away, Sheffield United at home, and Aston Villa at home to play as well. And the one thing that kind of Danny Rose does is, even if you don't want to buy him, he kind of potentially unlocks another Newcastle defender to go for, which would be Matt Ritchie. And basically, because Danny Rose is there now, Matt Ritchie in the last couple of games has been able to go and play in midfield. So he's playing out of position. We know he's been a midfielder in the past, but because of the amount of defensive work or times he played in defence last season, he was listed as a defender this year. So he's actually the same price as Danny Rose, 5.3 million, and did play right mid in the last 2 games. And if you look at the last 4 matches that he's played, 5 chances created, 10 shots in the box. 10 shots and 6 in the box, and obviously he's on penalties as well. Now he did miss one, so potentially he might get taken off them, but hopefully he's still got them. So I don't think anyone is going to be jumping over a Newcastle defender anytime soon, but 5.3 million, you're probably not going to go for Danny Rose. Not that he's really been that bad when he's been a Newcastle shirt, just FPL wise, just not really an option. Matt Ritchie, 5.3 million could be at some point though. You didn't think I was going to get through an FPL video without talking about Bruno Fernandes, surely. And obviously January transfer window signings go. He has been very, very good so far for Man United. Game weeks 25 to 29 we are looking at for him. And basically he's already become like a 90 minutes a man game. Only one of those games did he not play 90 minutes. Absolutely nailed on pretty much on all set pieces, most free kicks, most corners, and obviously penalties as well, which is a huge thing. Obviously when Pogba and Rashford are finally back, we may see one of those take penalties instead, but given his kind of track record and how important he is to the team now, I'm pretty much expecting him to keep them, but we'll have to wait and see what happens there. It doesn't really get much better in terms of a kind of high impact January signing, especially this season. I'd say he's probably arguably the best. Maybe you disagree. If you do, leave a comment below. Always happy to hear. So first 5 game weeks he's had 38 points at 7.6 points per match. Now to put that into perspective of how good that is, Salah for the season is on 7.2, De Bruyne is on 6.8, and Mane is on 6.7. Obviously they're all a lot more money. Now obviously one point to make there is they are getting kind of 7.2, 6.8 and 6.7 points per match over the course of the season, so a much bigger sample size than Fernandes has had. But even if he doesn't keep up 7.6, he's got it in his locker to kind of, with all the set pieces, penalties, etc. And obviously he's made Man United a much better team as well. He's got the potential there to keep up with the points per game. Maybe not quite as high as those guys, but certainly right up there. And for his price, obviously, it looks very good. So from game week 25 to 29, looking at the stats again, no one has had more shots than Fernandes. He's on 19, so that's tied with Raul Jimenez and Jay Rodriguez. The only kind of downside with him in terms of goal threat, outside of kind of penalties, of course, is only 5 of those 19 have come in the box. So he's shooting a long way off, and obviously there's less chance of scoring. Not that you can't score from long range, but of course it's going to be much easier the closer you are to goal. So that's a little bit of a worry, but still he's getting the shots off, which we like as FPL managers. So hopefully that will continue. Expected goals, yeah, is only 0.52 from open play for those 19 shots, whereas Jimenez is on 2.51 and J-Rod is on 1.89. So obviously it's going to be more difficult to score from those long range shots. He's 4th for chances created with 11, so only Matinho, McNeil and Maddison are beating him over the kind of game weeks that he's played as well. And I think when the season gets back underway, Man United have got some really nice fixtures as well. So Brighton away, Bournemouth at home, Villa away, Southampton at home and West Ham at home. So if you're not already on him, I think plenty of people will be jumping on him as soon as the season does restart. And he's already gone from 8 to 8.5 million. So if he keeps up this scoring, that's only going to soar, and it won't be long until he gets to 9 million, I would say. So Steven Bergwijn, another kind of permanent move like Bruno Fernandes. So he's come from PSV to now be playing for Spurs, of course. Unfortunately, obviously, even if the league restarts soon, going forward, you're not really going to have him in your teams because he's kind of done his ankle in. And it looks like to be quite a long-term injury. Before, obviously, all this stuff happened, it was going to be rumoured or kind of said that he was going to be out for the whole season. So he's going to be out for a long time. So we're not going to be looking at getting him in our teams anytime soon, but we can still look back at how he's done so far. So game week 25 to 29 for him. Burst onto the scene in game week 25, obviously scored against Man City and got bonus points as well. So he finished off with a score of 10, which was decent start to his kind of Spurs career in FPL wise as well. So 5 game weeks, 22 points in total, 4.4 points per game. So it's not bad. It's not like amazingly good. Obviously, Fernandes is a bit of a kind of a unique player in that regard, but 4.4 is not that bad for someone who's so new to the league as well. And he's only 7.4 million, so he is a bit cheaper too. So in those game weeks, he's played 7 shots, 5 in the box, and 7 chances created. So not bad, I don't think. I think it's not spectacular, but he has kind of hit the ground running. There's none of this kind of, waiting to play, bring him into the team in steps. He's just straight into the team, playing week in, week out at the moment, or he was up until his injury. If I looked back at PSV as well, and he kind of played as a winger, attacking mid and centre forward as well. Mostly as a winger, but he has played in those other positions. And if you look at Spurs, in the 5 league games, he's already been used at left wing, attacking mid and centre forward as well. Now, some of that is obviously necessity because Kane's injured, Son's injured, and it's not been a great time for Mourinho with Spurs injuries. So when everyone is fit, we might see him kind of stick to one regular position. Maybe that will just be winger for Spurs. And hopefully he can just settle in there playing, in the same position week in, week out, especially when Spurs have got all their players back. That's obviously going to make Spurs a better team in general. So it's hard to fully kind of analyse how he's done or what we should expect going forward because he's kind of been played everywhere. Spurs haven't been full strength and obviously now he's injured. But Mourinho does like versatile players, and he is definitely that. So the fact that he can play in different positions is obviously a good thing. So I think 7.4 million is an interesting price. Let's see if we get to see him again before the end of the season. So lastly, we've got Pepe Reina, obviously Aston Villa goalkeeper. Not been the greatest start for him so far. He's actually played a little bit longer than the rest of the players we've talked about in this video. So game weeks 23 to 29. Obviously not been a great start, but he's kind of got his work cut out at Aston Villa, I think it's fair to say. So only 1 score so far above 2 points, which was 10 points versus Spurs when he got the penalty save. 19 points over 6 games, only 3.16 points per match. So it's not been a great start for him. And over that time period, when he's played, Villa are 4th for expected goals conceded, 4th for shots in the box. So obviously it's going to be difficult for the keeper of any team to keep clean sheets just because of the amount of shots that are coming in and basically just how poor Aston Villa are and have been defensively. In that same period, Reina's 5th for saves. So he has been doing his bit, obviously, but it's difficult with the amount of shots coming in. And to be fair, he's not done himself any favours as well. We've seen a couple of goals that have been scored while he's been completely out of his box. Most recently, that one against Leicester when Harvey Barnes went round him. So he's not really helping himself out any more than the team is helping him out at the moment. And when you look at Villa as a defensive unit, like for the kind of the whole season, they've been, top of the wrong charts, I would say. So always right up there in terms of expected goals conceded, always right up there in terms of shots in the box. So across the whole season, they are top for expected goals conceded and shots in the box. They conceded 300 and 42 so far this season. Second place is Norwich with 294, so nearly 50 less over the course of a season. So Villa are very, very poor at the moment and have been for the whole season when it comes to a defensive point of view. Obviously getting properly sucked into the relegation battle at this point, which can only, you would think it would decrease morale. Whether or not, some players will probably cope with that better than others. I wouldn't see maybe Jack Grealish still not fighting when they come back, but obviously even he looked poor against Leicester as well. So I don't think we're going to be jumping on Villa assets anytime soon. It's hard to say how much of this is completely Pepe Reina's fault as well, considering Villa have been so poor defensively for the whole season, but he really hasn't done himself any favours so far. So that is it for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to give it a like so we know what to keep producing. And obviously subscribe if you're new around here as well. Hit that notification bell. Like I said at the start of the video, there obviously will be a slight reduction in content at the moment, and obviously it won't be the normal week-to-week stuff that we do, but that will be back once the season restarts. So make sure to subscribe and leave a comment below. Let me know what you think of the January signings that I've mentioned. Are there any that I've missed that you think have been doing well or may do well in the future? Obviously there's players like Bowen at West Ham and a couple of others that I've not mentioned in this video. So leave me a comment below and let me know what you think. Otherwise we will catch you next time.